hot tag. This is where we jump from the middle of the ring and we dive to the corner. We catch up with the X-Man, Francisco X Rivera, and this is really cool. I know that we only have him until the top of the hour, so you begin our Apple block, sir. Good morning. Thanks for dropping by the morning show.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me.
All right. So you get Vancouver on Saturday, sir, ... What has study hall been like getting ready for this one?
Well, this is going to be probably my 20th time in Vancouver. So this is a team that I've followed since we started MLS and Apple TV. I mean, not counting my years with LAFC, the 5 previous years from 2018 to 2022. So I did my first MLS on Apple game there. So I officially did the first game in Canada for MLS on Apple TV. I was pretty much the resident Vancouver voice in Spanish for, a couple of years or so until I moved East Coast last year to work for the Braves. So, going back to the West and seeing a team that I've seen develop from the days of Vanni Sartini and the way he sort of developed and grew the foundation for that team to Jasper Sorensen taking over last year. It's been a joy to see, and getting to meet a lot of the players then, and now I get to see San Jose, a team that I called their game 2 weeks ago against Philadelphia, and now they got Timo Werner. So I'm so excited to see it. I don't have to prep as much then again because these are teams that I have fresh in my head and my memory. But at the same time, super excited to see the potential duel between Timo Werner and Thomas Muller, two of the guys that I admire. And I think in terms of German players, they're both in my top 5.
When you look at Vancouver, obviously they've been kind of busy in the midweek. How much starting 11 turnover are you anticipating? Are you going to just sit there and be like, yeah, okay, rest? Jesper Sorensen sits there, puts them in a ninth bath, trots them out against San Jose, and everything's fine. How different a look do you think they're going to be?
You know what? That's one of the things that MLS teams are learning about. If you're playing in Europe, let's say the EPL, you know that you're going to play potentially 4 tournaments, right? You're going to play 2 cups. You're going to play the Champions League. You're going to play the league. And I think this is something that MLS is slowly learning, but they're increasing the depth of their teams. And I think I'm glad to see it. There's some unfortunate cases. And again, we saw what happened with Cincinnati, yesterday against Tigres. And I did their game Sunday against New England. And, they allowed 6, right? And I think they made a lot of changes. If I'm not mistaken, they made 7 changes from the midweek against Tigres, midweek game. And then they were probably thinking, okay, we're going to bring our best weapons into the second half. We're going to be able to make it work. We'll rest them for the next day. So it's always a bet, man. It's always a coin toss when you make those changes, when you try to get protected for one game and you sort of disprotect yourself or unprotect yourself for the other. So it's a coin flip then again. I'm not expecting, and I haven't talked to the coach yet, so don't quote me on this. I'm not expecting Thomas Muller to start, at least. But then again, they might surprise, especially I think they want to take good care of him. It's going to be a long season, and he's their biggest asset, so they'll probably want to protect him. So, but they're an offensive team. They're going to be on your face all the time. They're pressure. I think that's one of the traits that we've seen from Vancouver since the Vanni Sartini days. So even if they use some alternate players, I'm not expecting them really to sit back and leave San Jose the bulk of it. San Jose is also a very aggressive team. They like to press. I saw it against Philadelphia 2 weeks ago. So I think it's going to be a good matchup. It's going to be offensive. It's going to be back and forth.
All right, so the starting 11 in the midweek for Vancouver, Takaoka in that back 4 left to right, Johnson, Priso, Laborda, and Ocampo. The 2 in front of them, Kubas and Sebastian Berhalter. 3 midfielders in the attack, AZ Jackson, Mueller, and Jivan Bodwal, and then Brian White up top. I don't know what Brian White is eating or drinking or what, but it seems like that switch got flipped for him, and he is everything he touches is heading a goalward these days, and it's like he can do no wrong, it seems.
You know what's interesting? In 2023, he had a rough stretch, and we were just waiting for the emergence of Brian White. We knew what he could do. We saw him with the Red Bulls, and I think when you have that expectation looming over you, that adds, a lot of responsibility. And all of a sudden, it's funny because I remember doing Vancouver beginning of the season, and he had a very, very dry stretch. And then all of a sudden I came back like 2 months later and he was already like top of the scoring leaderboard. I'm like, what happened? And I guess what happened is what we expected and what we wanted to happen for Brian White. And he's a number 9 that I really like that type of number 9. He's that guy that's feisty, that's strong, that he's a body inside the area, and he's going to fight for every ball out there, that he's also going to create chances for his teammates, that he can post up and he can give you the ball there so you can shoot from long range. He can throw it to the sides so they can center it back to the area. I really like Brian White, and he's a hustler more than anything. He's not a guy that's just going to be waiting for the ball to land in his head so he can attempt a shot on goal. He's going to be that guy that's going to be fighting for his opportunities, but very smart at the same time, because he knows where to position himself. He's not just going to be flying somewhere else close to midfield trying to get that opportunity. He's always going to be there. And he understands, and again, that he has a lot of really good players around him, from when he played with Ryan Gold, who's unfortunately out for the season, to now Thomas Muller, to Andres Cubas. A lot of the football or the soccer offensively for Vancouver is going to start with Andres Cubas building from midfield, and then he's going to toss it around, and he's got very capable guys on the wing as well. So I think he understands the responsibility, and once I think that formula sort of came to fruition, I think once the chemistry started getting tighter for Vancouver, we really saw the beast of Brian White being unleashed.
Francisco X Rivera hanging out with us for about another 7 or 8 minutes. I know that you turn into a pumpkin or close to 10 o'clock, and that's when Danny Higginbotham tags in after you. Since you mentioned Cincy, I do want to get there, but I want to get through San Jose first, because Cincinnati's collapse is just like, oh my God, and we have to get into that a little bit. San Jose, Atlanta United, since we're based here in Atlanta, obviously that's one of our tent poles. The early match this season against San Jose, as Atlanta United was trying to kind of get their sea legs a little bit with what Tata Martino wants them to do. Sure. The young players for San Jose, and the same with RSL basically, but it's the younger players for San Jose are stepping up and causing problems for people. What has it been like to see these young guys step up for Bruce Arena, who he's just like, yeah, look, if you show it to me Monday through Friday, I don't care what the driver's license says, I'm putting you in the lineup. So the young guys for San Jose are stepping up.
Well, there's 2 guys that I really set my eyes on when I started doing MLS and Apple TV. I knew San Jose well, then again, because of the duels against LAFC and their days with Matias Almeida, and they went through a rebuild, and it's been a tough rebuild for Bruce Arena, but I think he's getting them on track. But there were 2 guys that I pay attention to: Kate Cowell, who eventually ended up going to Mexico playing for Chivas de Guadalajara, and then Nico Shakiris. They were in the U20s. They sort of started together. They climbed up the ladder together. And, Shakiris was one of those promising guys, but I really didn't know what to make out of what I saw from him. And all of a sudden, I saw him against Philly 2 weeks ago after not seeing him for a while. And man, I was pleasantly surprised. And I actually talked to Bruce yesterday on our coaches call, and I told him, like, I'm not shocked, but pleasantly surprised about what I saw from him. He looks like a leader. He looks like a very smart guy that can play behind your number 9. He can also play on the wing. He fights for every ball in the when you get to attacking third. He can shoot from long range. He can pass well. But then again, having that ability to being the leader, and the way San Jose plays now that Timo Werner's adapted to one of the wings, they use Werner on one side, they use Oseni Buda on the other side, who's also been killing it. And then you have that guy in the middle who can be so important. Number 10s have really disappeared from the world of football or soccer. But there's some teams still that will use that guy that can be the brains, that can be the creator behind your number 9. And Nico Shakiris can be that guy. So Preston Judd will have some freedom up top. But then again, sometimes you don't expect that from a younger kid. But you know what? He understands the responsibility. He's played the World Cup with the U20s. He knows what it is to be under that pressure, to be under the radar. So I'm excited to see what Nico Shakiris can do and eventually become, a star in the national team. I know this is, we're a long ways from that, but I'm excited from what I've seen from him so far.
2 other young dudes that I wanted to get your opinion on: Bo LaRue, who Bruce had a lot of faith in last year, and Reed Roberts, who has kind of been put into play as one of the center backs at times this season. Yeah. They've been added to this mix as well for the young guys that are making their own impacts in San Jose too, I think.
Yeah, and you know what? I got to do the Galaxy for 3 years, from 2013 to 2015. And from what I saw, Bruce is a guy that does not complicate things much for himself or the team. He has his core, he has his base, and especially with the Galaxy, you had a lot of veterans. You had some DPs. I mean, he got Giovanni Dos Santos at the time. He had Robbie Keane. Then he had Landon Donovan, David Beckham. So it's kind of like there's not much room for the younger guys to get adapted in this system. And then he went to New England and he worked with a lot of guys who were coming from college that were just drafted. One of them that comes to mind, Ian Harkes, who had a very special relationship with Bruce, and we were talking about it the other day because he grew up Ian with his dad John played for Bruce at the time, and they grew up together in Fairfax, Virginia. So he's a guy that he pulled from New England to San Jose, understanding then again that he knows some of the players and he likes to see some of the younger players developed. And I remember talking to him about it. And it's not necessarily the fact that he likes to develop players or that he wants to use college players or rookies or you name it. It's just, necessity at times. And it's just what he sees, and he calls it as he sees it. And I think Roberts is a guy that's been very interesting. I like what I've seen from him, and I think he can become a player to be reckoned with within San Jose's system.
All right, since I know that you have to go from one end of the planet to the other to go to call this match with San Jose and Vancouver, before you go,
That's right.
you mentioned Cincinnati, and I was stunned. They've given up 11 goals in a week now. I mean, what is the temperature at Pat Noonan's seat behind his desk? I mean, are we what's the temperature there? Have we hit hot sauce on his seat right now?
I don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
you also have to take a look at not only losing, but how you lose.
Mm-hmm.
And then these are decisions that I think you make. And obviously, Pat knows much more soccer than I do. But these are decisions that you make. Then again, trying to protect a lead, perhaps, trying to focus on one thing. And as I said, Major League Soccer teams are learning how to work, having to play 2 or 3 tournaments at the same time. And we're going to have Leagues Cup eventually, right? So we have Open Cup, Champions Cup, etc. So these guys are getting used to it. It's not easy, to be honest. And I think when it comes to depth, we right now, I don't think we can match Liga MX with what they have, especially a team like Tigres, a team like Monterrey, Club America, even Cruz Azul. We're going to see Cruz Azul, LAFC. That's a matchup I'm really, really excited about. I started with Philadelphia when I did the Philadelphia San Jose game. They had to make some changes because they were playing Club America in just a few days. And I remember Bradley Carnell making some changes towards the end and sort of protecting their players and try to keep them fresh. But as I said, it's a conflict. Even if you play every guy for 90 minutes on each one of the matches, you have no guarantee, right? And so, I appreciate somehow what Cincinnati did in the game against New England. And I think it was, I mean, New England was not playing well. They had a rough season last year. They're a talented team, but I said, they have a lot of variables. They have a little margin of error. So no one really thought that New England was going to score 6, to be honest. I mean, that was only the second time that they had scored 6 in their MLS history. And what's funny about it, Pat Noonan was present the last time they scored 6 goals, and he actually scored twice against Colorado, which to me was very ironic, at the same time. So he's been present the 2 times that Revolution has scored 6 in a game. So no one expected it. Just the Revolution had an amazing day. They had a day that they had needed for a long time. So no one really expected for that to happen. But I think that in terms of the motivation, in terms of the mentality, I think it took a big toll in Cincinnati. And that's unfortunate. That it probably carried along to their momentum or what the momentum they had against Tigres. But when you play teams like that, then again, and I've followed Tigres for a long, long time, and I know when they were cash poor, and I've seen them transition into one of the teams that spend all the money they have because Monterrey is so rich. I mean, we have to say it.
Yeah.
They have the resources, and I've seen that. Teams like that, it's hard to play against, and they have 20 really good players. So even if you rest a lot of guys, that there's going to be 5, 6, 7 other guys that will come up and punish you. So it's one of those unfortunate situations, and hopefully Cincinnati will learn from this, if there's anything to learn from this situation.
Yeah, and so now you open up another door, man. I need to have you back to just talk Liga MX.
Yeah.
Liga MX, man. We do that too. Okay, so who's your tag team partner in Vancouver?
It's going to be Paul Dolan, who I'm really excited to work with, because Paul and I have met several times since I've been in Vancouver. Sometimes that we've met in Toronto, and he played for Canada and Mexico in 1996. And even though I was little and I don't remember anything from that World Cup, he's been telling me stories of the cities that he traveled to. And it's great. I really like Paul, and I think we're gonna do great. It's gonna be fun. And then I'm also a big hockey guy, so going to Vancouver, I got a couple, actually. Whenever you guys watch a game, I got a couple of hockey connections with Vancouver Whitecaps. So you guys are gonna love it, I'm sure. So very ad hoc, I think, very proper.
Hey man, look, the fact that you're a puckhead, the fact that you can talk Liga MX, the fact that you can come on here and talk about anything and everything, I love it. You now officially know where the garage door opener is. You know where the key is under the mat. Do not be a stranger and come in and crash. And it's like, dude, I got to get something off my chest. I want to come in and crash. Let me know. Door is wide open for you, my friend. Come on in anytime. It was great to see you. Don't be a stranger. Get there safely, please, and get back home, and we'll catch up with you next time. Thanks for dropping in on a crunch.
Thank you, my friend. It's a pleasure. And then again, hopefully heading to Hartsfield Jackson, I don't get too many of the headaches.
You know.
Yes, sir. Thanks for everything, John.